name is Ethan Viets-Vanlear. I'm 19. It feels validating. It does not, however, feel like honorable. People were telling me I was blessed to be going and things like that. I'm not blessed to be going. I'm going because of tragedies that have occurred and that are occurring, not because. So I don't feel like blessed to be there. So We Charge Genocide was spawned this summer, or revitalized this summer, after the murder of my friend Dominique Franklin by the Chicago Police Department. And after the incident, and after he was in a coma and then eventually passed, I was really disempowered. There wasn't enough, I didn't feel like there was enough organizing around it, and people were lackluster in their wants to actually, I wanted to go run to the police stations. I was so angry, and I didn't see that reflected. So then when this organization popped up and all this stuff with Mike Brown started happening, and the energy really got under it, and I felt like it was actually organizing behind the issue. And that's why I joined We Charge Genocide and joined the delegation when they asked me to, because for Dominique really, and the continued violence against young people in the city. So We Charge Genocide is like an intergenerational, inter-organizational, I guess collective, because it's not really a coalition. It's not an organization itself, just like a collective of inspired people who want to work around the issue. So it was started by Miriam Kaba, but there's people from all over the city working in it, from both sides of the city, north and south, west, east side. And there's a police crimes working group, and that's kind of what We Charge Genocide came out of. They created a report that we're going to be bringing to the UN, a shadow report, that is personal testimonies as well as facts about police violence. So the United Nations convenes a convention on torture every 3 to 4 years, and countries across the world have signed on to that convention and have to meet up with agreements. And they offer non-governmental organizations to bring reports saying if the U.S. is in compliance with the Convention on Torture. And the U.S. of course is not in compliance and never is. So we think there'll be a lot of sympathetic ears in the UN. Actually this year was the most reports written and the most people going out. And one of the people who's working with an organization that's organizing the groups going out there said that We Charge Genocide had a big part in getting people to want to go out there. So there's going to be 200 people out there, which is unprecedented.
Wow. From all over?
From all over the U.S.
Wow.
So we felt it was important to not only bring facts about what's happening, because a lot of people know the facts. A black person is 10 times more likely to get shot than a white person by the police in the city. Or 80% of the tasering against people are against people of color, and 45 of them are young people under the age of 16, as young as 8. And all these facts, but really I feel the most powerful point is the personal testimonies we have in it. We have police brutality, over aggression section. We have a section on sexual violence, and a few other ones. And it's just really personal testimonies, very raw, and you can feel it, and you can see the voice. And that was conducted at a youth testimonial hearing, as well as a anonymous phone calling bank where people could call in their complaints and stuff like that. And we just have a sliver of all the complaints that are out there. And even the complaints that do get presented, that do get brought to the Police Accountability Board, there's a statistic only 1% of them end with police being held accountable. And usually held accountable means a suspension or something very small. Well, we want the UN to call what the CPD has been doing torture and classify it as torture. We also want a state program to go investigate the CPD for torturous acts along the things we said, and show and continue that investigation, because right now they're just not being held accountable. We also want reparations for the families that have been affected by police violence. And we have more demands in our shadow report, but the UN has no real control over what the U.S. does.
That's right.
But we're not really expecting too much from the U.S. government, from the state. But that really, the UN saying what the CPD doing is torture, and then the organizing we can do around us traveling to Geneva and continuing this energy that has been built around us going out there,
right,
and continuing the organizing around police violence with We Charge Genocide because of this is really where I see it. And just seeing my friends and my homies who I tell them what I'm doing and they get more inspired,
right,
and that's been worldwide, or all around the country.
Right.
People hear what we're doing and they're like, okay, we can do something. This is a tangible thing that people are doing besides protesting, and then they feel engaged to like continue to organize.
right.
So that's where I see the most coming out. So the Ferguson trip was definitely pretty inspiring. What was inspiring really was talking to some of the young people and just seeing the young people that have been out there for like 60, 70 days.
Wow.
At that point it was 60, now it's like 90.
Wow.
90 days they've been out there, 80 days. So it was inspiring to just like hear them and their like kind of militancy of like, we're not going to stop, we're going to keep doing this, and hear some of their stories. It was a little disconcerting seeing kind of the paternalism of some of the adults that were organizing out there, and it's kind of like carnival-like atmosphere in St. Louis during one of the marches. Like we were just talking about the Black Panthers and how they represented themselves, and they weren't just asking for an indictment of an officer. Like that will end it. Like that's what we're fighting for. Like they weren't just asking for like police accountability in Ferguson, you know. They were calling for a revolution. They were calling for the end of a police state,
right,
and the end of a militarized presence in communities of color. So that's what I wanted to hear, and that I didn't get that. And I didn't hear that a lot, except from some of the young people out there that have really been doing the organizing work.
Interesting.
But what we see a lot in the media and what gets on a lot of the stages out there is like these older, like clergymen or older organizers kind of speaking on behalf of the young people. So it was an interesting experience. It was a lot of release. It was like powerful to see that many people standing up against the police every night in Ferguson,
For sure.
and knowing that's happening just every single night. It made me kind of critical of our protests out here in Chicago, because just the energy out there is, and the numbers, but the energy too is just so ripe, you know.
Yeah.
It's so raw, and I think I got a lot of ideas of how we can organize actions back in the city to kind of like mirror that energy. So that was exciting to see that. Our report and We Charge Genocide has a focus on representing young people that have been affected by police violence, and our report is all young people's testimonies. So I think we didn't want to continue with the paternalistic model of organizing that has like is so pervasive in nonprofits in this country, of adults speaking on behalf of young people, or like hosting young people's stories and kind of being the catalyst to young people's stories getting attention, but really giving us young people the right to speak our own truth and our own story and kind of bring it to the forefront. And yeah, some people have been like, oh, it's so exciting that you young people are doing this. Like, this is so inspiring. But really, no one but young people has led any social movement in this country or in this world, really, I think. It's always the young people that are the driving force, the heartbeat of the movement, and that's been forever. So while it gets displayed as surprising and inspiring, and it is, I feel like the work we're doing is exciting, it's not far-fetched or out of the ordinary, really, when you're looking back at Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee or the Black Panther Party or all these organizations that really led movements were young people. So I think this is a very inspiring event that's about to occur, an inspiring, exciting trip, and it is a peak in this movement pushed by a lot of organizing. But I'm very critical that this is not any sort of concluding event. It's not we did it, even if the UN does agree with everything we say and tries to fix it. That's not.
Right.
We know it's genocide. We know it's torture. That's why we do the organizing work. We don't really need this body to say it. What we need is more people organizing on the ground against this.
Right.
And understanding that once we get back, it doesn't mean that we're done. It just means we're getting started, you know.
That's right.
And that this peak is the smaller of the next peaks to come these next few years. And that what we're doing is trying to be a heartbeat for a movement, because we represent so many other people that aren't there. We represent so many voices. We represent the mother that drove a young person to the protest. We represent the people that are locked up in cages right now. We represent Dominique, Damo, and all the other people that are in the ground right now because of the police. And yeah, it's not over. It's only the beginning.